Drop it on them random.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of That Time in Hip Hop, a podcast about the history and nostalgia, but more importantly, the preservation of hip hop music and culture. I am your host, Vegas of Hip Hop Now Podcast. As always, with me, the homie Tone of IntoTheDome.com. What's good, man?
Hey, man, hump day, drinking some nice, this is like kale, spinach, all type of green things, man. I've been juicing for the last 4 days, man. I'm doing good, baby.
Damn, man, that's good, man. I got a groin injury. That's all I got, man. That's I need juice. Get some energy back.
Where your cup at?
No, I just got a water bottle today. I just got a water bottle today. They ain't endorsing shit.
That'll work.
Fuck 'em. But and also, man, I'm just tripping off R. Kelly. I didn't watch the whole interview. I just a snippet of the outburst, and I was like, man, that's a man who knows what they do to his kind in jail.
Oh boy.
You know what I'm saying? But fuck him. If you're watching for the first time, this podcast here is everything we said it is, and this podcast is not only available in video form, but also in audio form. All you got to do is search on whatever platform you use podcasts, whether that's iTunes or Spotify or iHeartRadio. Search for Hip Hop Now Podcast, and within that same stream, you will find That Time in Hip Hop. This is like a 30th episode, so there's plenty of stuff to go back on. And just to recap, the last episode we did was all about Master P and his influence on the game and his rise in the game and everything surrounding him, man. Check that joint out. Check all of them out. Binge them, but more importantly, hit that subscribe button and share it with people enjoy this kind of content. Now, there's a thing we like to do at the beginning of the show where we talk about what happened this week in hip hop. And in this week in hip hop, let's get the date correctly. On March 4th, 1966, Grand Poobah of Brand Nubian was born. Tone, Grand Poobah. We know he's linked with Brand Nubian, but we know this man as a soloist, as a part of Brand Nubian, as a hip hop icon, basically, man. What are your thoughts on somebody like Grand Poobah?
Man, Poobah Maxwell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, man, Poobah had flavor. You know what I'm saying? He's like the epitome of like late 80s, early 90s B-boy. You know what I'm saying? Like he one of the first cats talking about the fresh shirt, the fresh Tommy Hill figure, the fashion. Like he was one of those guys, man, who he just had that flavor, man. And it's hard not to like Grand Poobah. You know what I'm saying? Like think about his career. You know what I'm saying? And for anyone younger listener right now, if you're not familiar with Grand Poobah and the Brand Nubians, please go back and do the knowledge. You got YouTube, man. Just click it. You know what I'm saying? But Grand Poobah, man, is like, unfortunately, man, he's not mentioned enough with the greats and with some of the legends of the game, man. But the legends of the game appreciate Grand Poobah. I've heard Nas and all kind of guys talking about Grand Poobah, and I've seen pictures of him out in Vegas. A lot of the guys have come to his shows, support him, and show him love and stuff like that because he meant a lot. You know what I'm saying? He's also one of those first dudes on some old, consciousness with All For One album and that Sunshine at Wake Up. You know what I'm saying? He's spitting that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And he really kind of shared that knowledge with Sadat X and Lord Jamar, and they sung and and all the video interviews over the years and stuff, man. So he brought out a consciousness, man, from another level to hip hop, and he's not appreciated to me the way he should be, man. But Grand Poobah could rap too. You know what I'm saying? He was smooth, had a smooth flow, dope lyrics, man. He had substance to his lyrics, and of course he was on with Brand Nubians for one album at first. He did the All For One, the solo, the debut joint, excuse me. Then he went solo for several years and dropped some nice solo joints. And of course, he had What's the 411 with Mary J. And it was a nice little back and forth joint, a lot of flavor in that track. He got a lot of props for that. Then he came back like 8 years later, actually, like on Foundation, when Brand Nubians got back together. But he had a dope solo career, man. He's a dope MC. doesn't get, like I said, the love he should get. So I'm hoping that anyone listening who hasn't really been up on Puba, what I'm saying, will go back and show him some love, man. But what about you, man? What's your thoughts on Grand Puba?
The first time I heard Grand Puba was with the group Masters of Ceremony.
Yep.
Before Brand Nubian, it was a song called Sexy. And a lot of records back then, this is the 80s we talking, and a lot of records back then kind of had somewhat of a similar vibe and feel, just let you know that it was hip hop. And I remember the first time I heard Grand Puba's voice, I saw the video, he was in the car. He just was different from the rest of the rappers. You know what I'm saying? The way he was flowing was different. And you know what I'm saying? It felt energetic and futuristic. It instantly made his counterparts feel older than me. Like it was old rap, even though this was the time where, everybody was kind of rapping like that, except for, a couple of cats here and there, like a Slick Rick or somebody like that. But I just remember then, and then when I saw, him and Brand Nubian, I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's the same dude. And Brand Nubian was just something you had never seen before in the hip hop game, man. There was conscious hip hop, but there was something about this that was real, had a street edge to it, but it was conscious. And, obviously they had the crazy hits and all of that. Obviously, when he went solo, and he had 360, What Goes Around, a hit for him also. On his second album, I think it was called like 2000, something like that.
2000 was dope, yeah.
2000, yeah, it had the joint I Like It with the large sample. Like,
very, very dope.
People who don't understand, there was a point in time, a good period, where Grand Puba was like a top MC. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It was like you were guaranteed to get a dope verse every time it was his turn. You know what I'm saying? Or if it was, his solo project or whatever. And like Tone said, man, Grand Puba was mentioning Tommy Hilfiger when nobody, for the most part, knew what that was. It was like he single-handedly introduced you to this brand, basically. And, there are other artists that kind of did that, like Biggie said Cool G a lot, and I think a lot of people didn't really think about it. A lot of people didn't even know, Bill Cosby was wearing Cool G's.
Right.
But, it's something when it shows that, a rapper has a certain influence because, not long after that, Tommy Hilfiger just had to look like, where am I getting this surplus? Where this boom coming from in my sales? And, it was kind of dope that he kind of found his way to Grand Puba or whatever way he did. But again, man, Grand Puba is a legendary MC in the game. Legendary verses, guest verses like Skins on Mecca and the Soul Brother.
Yep.
Like a dude that really doesn't get mentioned enough. Only by cats who were like around during that time. You know what I'm saying? And they barely mention him. So on his birthday, we want to salute that man. He's still out there doing shows with Brand Nubian every now and again.
Oh yeah, real quick too. I just saw Brand Nubian about 4 or 5 months ago here in North Carolina. It was dope, you know what I'm saying, and it was good to see all three of them together. Seemed like they was in sync still, good spirit, you know what I'm saying. The show was energetic. What can you say, man? When you make timeless music, you can tour 25 years later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what they had. They had a string of hits. You know what I'm saying? With Brand New, even when he left, Jamal and Sadat had him, and then he had his own solo joint. So they combined all of their joints. You know what I'm saying? And and it just made for a dope show, man. So salute to Brand Nubian, and also, of course, happy birthday again to Puba Maxwell, man.
Yeah, man, that One for All beat gets me every time. Every time that joint hit, it's like, oh man, it's just one of them records, man. You know what I'm saying? Timeless.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Alamo too. You know what I'm saying? Can't forget about Alamo.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Alamo. Can't forget him. But what are your comments? You ever heard of Grand Puba? Maybe you're young and you don't really get it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Definitely go back, YouTube, listen to the catalog, understand the context in which he was doing what he was doing with the wordplay and the songs they were making. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Salute Grand Pooba if you want. Whatever the case may be, we definitely check comments. And big shout out to those people who do comment. You know, we don't have our comment section on fire like that. That can come, but nevertheless, there are people who weigh in and give their opinion. So as long as everybody's respectful, I ain't gotta block nobody. All right. So keep doing what you're doing. All right. But now we're gonna get into the point of the show, which is the main topic at hand. And if you're looking at the back of this screen, yeah, it's that, but it's a little bit deeper than that. So Tone, man, do the honors. Let the people know what we're talking about today.
Man, this is that time in hip hop, and I'm gonna tell you, that time in hip hop when a TV station kind of disrespect their audience, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is that time in hip hop when BET would not, at the beginning, they was hesitant to play the underground North Carolina rap group Little Brothers video, Lovin It. It was their lead single off 2005, The Minstrel Show. Now, The Minstrel Show was an underground hit. And then it started to spread some because they had just signed with Atlantic Records and they had a little push from the label because they didn't get any kind of push for their debut album, which is The Listening, because it was on like a small label called ABB Records, if I'm not mistaken. But getting that push after Ninth had went and made the threat for Jay-Z and made some songs for Master Ace and a few other people, it also helped, energize the group and give them some shine. And so they got to deal with Atlantic Records, and Atlantic Records really, they allowed them to make the album they wanted to make. You know what I mean? And that was a dope part about it. They really didn't have any radio singles on the album. Lovin It is a chopped up boom bap beat. You know what I'm saying? That Knife is known to do. But that was nevertheless the single. Now, BET allegedly said the album and the song was too intelligent for their audience. Now, we thought it was BS at first. Like, what is that about? And so some people might know. So yes, I know them. I'm in North Carolina. I grew up with Knife. So Knife did call me and said, "Hey man, we have some issues with BET." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Well, right now they're hesitant to play the videos. But what happened was, and Big Pooh even talked about this on a couple of interviews, when they first got the word, they got the word from Atlantic Records. Atlantic Records let Little Brother know, like, hey, right now we have some issues with BET as far as playing the video. You know what I'm saying? Now, the group thought it was kind of bogus until they got confirmation from someone they ran across who actually worked for BET at the time. They spilled the beans and said, hey, word around the station is they don't really want to play that because, quote unquote, the audience that they have at the time is really not going to get it. Now, on the side note, Vague, I went back to that and listened to Lovin' It again. I heard Lovin' It before it came out because, Mike played it for me in the truck. I heard the whole album way before it came out. And I'm like, yeah, it's dope. But I didn't hear in Lovin' It this no disrespect to the group. I didn't hear this intelligent rhyme. Yeah. They were just spitting rhymes. Fonte had a braggadocious first verse, just spitting some rhymes. Who just spit some rhymes, and then Joe Scuttle just spit some rhymes. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't nothing like we hadn't heard before. It wasn't like the Ace Clan, you know what I'm saying, like To the East of My Brother or something, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't even Chuck D, Black Steel Now, or Chaos. It was just a funky little hip-hop track, no different than a De La Soul, Break It Down, or a Tribe, Electric Relaxation. It wasn't that deep. It was just a good little song for the album, you know? And truthfully, thinking about the album, there were several songs that had way more depth than Lovin' It. Now Lovin' It did have some depictions on the video real quick where they kind of make a little marker of some hip hop, just some like mainstream a little bit, but it was really like wasn't blatant. You'd have to really pay attention to the video and see the crowd and see how they were acting. So they was making a little mockery, which is the minstrel show. The album was based around, kind of mocking the hip hop industry and the music industry overall. You know what I'm saying how people kind of playing themselves. You know what I'm saying? So there is some subtle things like that in the video, but it wasn't nothing that a younger audience would even pick up on or be that deep. They'd probably be like, y'all like the beat. Dudes can rap a little bit. But that was really it. You know what I'm saying? So I never really understood why BET chose to, first of all, let it leak out and someone, in the record company find out, or you told the record company that we're not going to play the video. It didn't make any sense. It wasn't it wasn't Public Enemy's Can't Trust It. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no reason to not play the now. Also, they did play the video at some point, just a few little times or whatever, but it didn't get the spins like it should have got. But they honestly, man, I didn't get that. Same thing I said tonight. I said I don't understand why they wouldn't. I don't get it.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. I think when I first heard that it was when it was spreading throughout the hip hop media, that not only did BET not want to play it, but the reason. And I was involved with or producing a hip hop show at the time, so everything was a topic of conversation during the mix show or whatever, and we were playing Little Brother's album, you know what I'm saying, because it was fire, and we were thinking the same thing, like, wait a minute, okay, the excuse is just the worst thing I ever heard, but at the same time, like you said, Tone, like, what's so like deep about that record of all the records? Like, why that one? And for me, my mind started to race to politics, because at that same time is when I kind of, and maybe a little bit before that, I started to stop watching video shows, because a lot of the videos were the same, and it just wasn't entertaining anymore. You know what I'm saying? You would watch, like 5 videos in a row if it wasn't commercials, and they will contain some of the same things. You know what I'm saying? Bikini clad women and champagne bottles, and or in front of a pool or in front of a car, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it did become that.
Yeah, and I think not saying that that's a better excuse, but I think whoever was denying it was thinking, this does not fit into our rotation. Our viewers who come here for the booty shaking version of hip hop videos are going to turn away to MTV when this video comes on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that did have something to do with it. It definitely wasn't for the target audience, but I also think that BET missed the boat also, because you want to play variety of hip hop. Like, people act like booty shaking is new. It's not new. Even back in the early 90s when you had Luke and everyone booty shaking, you still had Public Enemy and Tribe and Daylight, NWA, and whoever else. So there's room for, a certain type of video. We always had those videos, but it brings to another thought I have, as far as, BET had Rap City. It ran from 1989 to 2008. So if you think about the minstrel show coming out in 2005, it was only 3 years before the show was even going off the air. So it had lost a lot of steam already. The videos had gotten redundant already. I think with modern technology and social media and YouTube and everything like that, people just say, I just look at the videos I want to look at online, on my phone, on the computer. You know what I'm saying? So I think the decline in watching videos is going to happen anyway. But I do think the fact that BET started, I guess, trying to fit in a certain little small box, they destroyed themselves probably earlier than it would have happened. You know what I'm saying? So Rap City became 106 and Park. You know what I'm saying? So it's like watching Rap City was like watching 106 and Park. You don't see Souls of Mischief on 106 and Park. See, back in the day, you saw all of these different artists on Rap City. Rap City changed. It became straight up like listening to the radio, but that was Rap City. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It lost all its steam, you know what I'm saying? And it just didn't last after that. And BET really damn near stopped playing music videos around that time. Around 2008, that was really it. When Rap City
left. Yeah, and a lot of that change has more so to do with Bob Johnson selling a company to Viacom, who also owned MTV, because all they did, and this was before damn, you just said it, not Rap City. What was the other joint that's still on now?
106 in Park.
106 in Park, right? So 106 in Park was created to be the black version of TRL. That's really all it was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You had your MTV Raps and you had Rap City, and that already existed. But they wanted to change BT from being black television, where you used to have like news anchors that were black and stuff like that. They wanted to just change it into actual entertainment channel that mirrors what MTV does, but for black people. But in that translation or whatever, or that transition, traditional hip hop got lost because they really was only paying attention to the numbers of things like 106 in Park and the videos that got the most traction. It basically became more like radio. You know what I'm saying?
It did. Absolutely.
And you know, if you see these kinds of records are doing well and this one isn't doing well, and you're not going to put it in rotation. You know what I'm saying? You might test it, you know, on a light rotation, but you're really not going to go there. Now, Tone, given what was happening with BET and this whole little brother situation, and his video, did you ever feel like this was like a you know, like they were a victim of circumstance or like of the moment, and that BET would somewhat maybe a couple of years down the line or a year or whatever would kind of return to form as far as presenting, you know, hip hop? Or did you feel like, you know, well, things are changing, they ain't never really gone back?
Well, I thought things were changing anyway for various reasons. One, like you said, Viacom taking over after Bob Johnson sold it, and BET changed as a station for one, because no more Tavis Smiley and Ed Gordon, none of these guys, no more, no more of those news stations and kind of what's going on in the black community. All that stuff changed, and BET turned to a version of MTV. So I think that transition was going to happen anyway, because they was looking at like clicks. You know what I mean? Like, let's get our ratings up and whatever we can do to get a mass audience. So let's kind of water BET down some, so we can bring in just not African Americans, saying, tuning in to the station. So I think that was going to happen. As far as Little Brother, they somewhat was a victim of the time, but also when you name your album The Minstrel Show, a lot of people in corporate America don't want that to blow up either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because we're going against the establishment. So what Little Brother was doing it was like Rage Against the Machine. So what if, The Minstrel Show sold 3 million records? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And they would have came stars at that moment of mainstream, but then people started looking at like, I gotta start making like more kind of conscious or more early 90s type of hip hop, and that ain't really what's moving right now. You know what I'm saying? So I think they could have shook things up if they would have became really popular at that moment. Because now it's like a lot of artists might say, we have been kind of shucking and jiving a little bit. We kind of have been, playing ourselves for record deals. Which another thing, if I start being more conscious, I'm gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna have more people look at that record deal before I sign it, or I'm gonna be more conscious on what kind of material I'm putting out. You know what I'm saying, to the radio, or my albums and stuff like that. So, if the Minstrel Show is Outkast equipment, hip hop changes.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? But it didn't turn out that way, and then it didn't say actually Atlantic Records dropped them after that album. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't know they got released, and they wanted to get released too for a lot of other reasons behind closed doors. They left Atlantic Records, and then Knife ended up doing this thing, starting his own labels and doing whatever. And Fonte and Pooh kept recording to get back, and then they end up doing their own solo efforts and stuff. But during that time, they kind of made a mockery of the industry. And trust me, there's always powers that be that kind of want to get rid of that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, you make a great point, man, because that Minstrel Show album to me is their best album.
It's a dope album, man, and I'm not just saying that being biased. It's a very
a lot of people agree with you, man. I even call it a classic. I thought it was just perfectly executed for what it was.
Let me make one point real quick, babe. When you said something about class, I do want to go back to another thing I think was Little Brother was a victim of. It was a victim of also, and this is still mainstream, with the Source magazine, because the Source magazine originally gave the Minstrel Show 4.5 mics. If you guys know about the Source, 4.5 mics is almost 5 mics. 5 mics is a hip hop classic. So it's right there on the verge. 4.5 is called Superior in the Source magazine. So the panel that ranked the mics gave it 4.5 mics, and Ray Benzino and Mays changed it to a 4, and they got into a big debate at the Source magazine because the guy ended up resigning. I can't remember his name. He was like, "Look, man, this ain't right." You know what I'm saying? But the rumor that came out was right before that, the Source magazine gave Young Jeezy Thug Motivation 4 mics. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't want to give little brother more mics than the Young Jeezy because Young Jeezy had become a star at that point. Well, that's y'all fault. Y'all should have gave Thug Motivation 4.5 mics then. You know what I'm saying? Because it probably was that. You know what I'm saying? But don't do little brother like that because y'all gave Young Jeezy 4.5 mics. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you gave Young Jeezy 4 mics and you try to take a half a mic from us. So they end up changing it back. You know, man, Benzino always been kind of shiesty with the mics. We know that he gave Made Man Classical Limited Edition 4.5 mics back in the day. And like, look, dude, I know you're a group from Boston, but y'all album is not 4.5 mics. You know what I'm saying? And then the Source ended up giving Lil Kim 5 mics for Naked Truth. We knew the underground story behind why they got 5 mics. So whatever. So the Source was already losing steam and respect anyway from loyal readers and subscribers. But yeah, man, they messed up with little brother with that. And I remember being on the phone with dude, and he's like, man, you know, first BT, now the Source and all this. Like, what? This is nuts, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like these two big conglomerates are like attacking this small underground rap group from North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? You'd have thought that it was Tribe or somebody Outcast who had done something militant and you know, and they trying to shut them down. But little brother was just getting on their feet, and BET and the Source both trying to kind of minimize them. You know what I'm saying? It's very strange, especially with us down here knowing all the ins and outs and the details of everything, you know, just from affiliations and stuff like that. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, and for those watching, we did a episode on the rise and fall of Source magazine. So if you want to, you know, a deeper dive into that, don't hesitate to go into the playlist and check that joint out. But to the point of like the Minstrel Show and what that album was, and especially at the time it happened, and what you mentioned about having something like BET kind of trying to downplay it and having the Source disrespecting it in some ways. It reminds me a lot of Spike Lee's Bamboozled in the same way, because this was a movie that I personally didn't rush to see. I didn't go to the movies to see it. I wasn't like, oh, it's coming out on DVD. But I was curious. And when I watched it, I never knew it was basically about the film industry. You know what I'm saying? And the whole shucking. It's no different from the Minstrel Show, really, in concept.
Right.
And that is a movie that almost never gets mentioned in Spike Lee's catalog. I mean, it's difficult to find. I don't think it's available digitally, not on the major platforms at all. And it's mainly because it turns a mirror on the same industry. And the film industry, Hollywood, they don't want you to, you know, show that these things are still happening. And it's the same thing with the music industry. I think a lot of dudes were so caught up in how much money was being made, and this was during the ringtone era or close to it. And Little Brother was catching steam. That was the thing. They were catching some steam, you know what I'm saying? And like Tone said, you already making money in this space. You probably already hired people who know about this type of hip hop. You don't really want it to go back to this, because then it makes it harder for those who aren't as talented as MCs or producers, or even the people that critique it, to have their come up again. You know what I'm saying? You want it to dumb down a little bit so everybody can eat. So it's just kind of one of those things, like you said, man. It's a really strange situation to have Black entertainment television treat an album like this in that way.
You know what? And that's the unfortunate part that, you know, a lot of people still picking up on it now, you know, years and years later. But it's unfortunate that a lot of people at that time missed out. And again, I'm not being biased. If you listen to that album, the production is some of Nime's best. It's a dope production, man. Elzai on the No Hiding Place. You know, you got Fonte and Pooh going back and forth, telling some good stories, good hip hop, man. There's a track on there called "Sincerely Yours" and "All for You." You know what I'm saying? Like really talking about life and your family, your missing your father, having your kid have issues when your relationship and your marriage. I mean, it's a real mature hip hop album from start to finish, and it's banging. DJ Jazzy Jill did some scratch. You know, and it's just a beautiful album, man. You know what I'm saying? And we were very proud of the Minstrel Show down here, the same way we were proud of the listening, you know, and things like that, and even the projects they did after that. But it's unfortunate that this album didn't hit the masses like it should. I'm glad a lot of people going back, still to this day listening. If you look at some of the videos on YouTube, you'll see a bunch of views and a bunch of comments, and even from like more recent all the way back. I mean, people are still catching on. I remember Knife saying before, sometimes it's just a marathon. If somebody figure us out or hear something that we did, 15, 20 years later after we did it, it's a win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You it's forever growing. Your fan base, a slow grow is better than no grow, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I'm proud of that album, man. I remember hearing it before it came out, and I was like, oh man, I could y'all hit a home run. And I wasn't even talking about record sales. I was talking about the quality of the music. You know what I'm saying? And I'm more big on that because at the end of the day, if you, like we said about Grand Poobah and the Brand Nubians, if you make great music, you'll be able to do something with that music forever. And they still tour. Whenever they do their own thing, or Fonte go out with the Foreign Exchange, they have their own discography with Foreign Exchange, but he still can spit some Little Brother stuff. Or when Pooh go out, Pooh has some nice solo projects, but he can still spit his Little Brother stuff because the music was good.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing, man.
Yeah, I think it's I think like that time, that was what, 2005 when that happened?
Yes.
I think that time again was a transition in hip hop that we kind of see, we still see the remnants of it today. In that regard, because I think now I say what's different now versus then is you can have a conscious record or a record from a conscious artist break through and be a hit. The album may not sell through the roof and may not become the dominant way of making music, but it can penetrate the market and people not hate on it. I mean,
and let me say this too.
Kendrick Lamar is Exhibit A.
That is Exhibit A, man. And let me say this real quick. So a lot of younger rappers at that time, they really loved Little Brother. We know that for a fact down here. Some of them used to come around. And J. Cole was one of them. J. Cole from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Whenever Ninth and Fonte and Pooh used to perform up here at the Cat's Cradle by UNC Chapel Hill and all of that, J. Cole was out there. Nobody knew who J. Cole was. He just started rapping. He had been to school at St. John and all this stuff. He was vibing. He was listening to Ninth. He was, and Little Brother, and he was influenced. You know what I'm saying? Same for Wale. Same for Kanye. A lot of people don't know that. Kanye and Little Brother and Consequence had a song called "I See Now." Kanye came down here to Raleigh, North Carolina, and recorded that song with Little Brother. You know what I'm saying? He was a big fan of Fonte. You know what I'm saying? Also from Fonte Tree is Drake. Ninth did a song "Think Good Thoughts" with Drake, Fonte, and Elzai. Drake loved Little Brother. They did another song together, "Don't You Have a Man." You know what I'm saying? So Drake was influenced by, and you can still watch the interview that Drake did on the Wonder Years with Ninth Wonder. He talked about that. You know what I'm saying? So you had that. You had Kanye. Like I said, you had your there was a couple other artists, man. Big Sean's talked about being influenced by Little Brother. You know, so a lot of people wouldn't even think that correlation. Big Sean, you know what I'm saying? So all of these guys, you know what I'm saying, were influenced by that rise back again to some conscious hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And boom bap. Kendrick Lamar is on Actual Proof, Genius song 8-9 years ago. He was already rocking with Ninth did. He tweeted, "Man, I just need to get me a Ninth Wonder beat." They pulled that up, when Ninth did that Duckworth for Kendrick Lamar on Damn album. You know what I'm saying? So all the influence and stuff like that was bubbling for years, and a lot of that was because the listening and the Minstrel Show influenced some of our biggest stars right now. A lot of people don't even know that, but they can YouTube a lot of these artists talking about Little Brother, man.
Yeah, I think that's the main takeaway from this. Like, even given the rise that was happening for Little Brother at the time with their sophomore album and the roadblocks that basically ended it, so to speak. It still was big because hip hop fans were on it. You know what I'm saying? It was buzzing in the hip hop community. That's why you have so many artists that Tone just named that openly say that they were influenced by that group. It's just sad when you think about it because it could have been a longer legacy. It could have been bigger. I mean, it's still a legacy because they all still popping off. But as far as like the group itself, and it could have ushered in, a whole section of other people, but things happen the way they happen. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's circle back to BET. And obviously, BET and the Source when we think about it, but since we kind of covered the Source, let's just focus on BET. With BET, they made a terrible call, basically. You know what I'm saying? Even if they played it later, it was delayed, it was subdued. Everything's about timing in the music industry, especially when it comes to hits and music and momentum. And with BET not really catching that wave when they should have, and then all the things they were currently doing, along with what they would eventually do, like you said, kind of get rid of the blackness, so to speak, within the channel and the entertainment or the programs, I should say, and kind of focus on a very young demographic and just whatever was silly, they was on it. But when you think about shows like Rap City, and like you said, you would even have other programs where if you were up and coming rap group like Little Brother and you had something that was hot and buzzing on the streets, you'd be sitting with Donnie Simpson. You'd be sitting with Tigger or my man who used to do the Shoulder Shake. I can't remember his name now.
Joe Claire, wasn't it?
The mayor, not Joe Claire though.
That's the mayor. Who's that?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about with the big lips and shit. But you would have saw them on some of these programs. You know what I'm saying? Teen Summit, you would have saw them on there.
Yep.
But unfortunately, it didn't go down that way. So when you think about BET, Tone, and especially where it is today, all of the tip drill stuff, the reality shows now, the 2005 to 2019, how do you feel about their decisions with hip hop since this situation, basically?
They totally dropped the ball on hip hop. You know what I'm saying? They lost the essence of hip hop, and maybe some of the people who were in leadership positions at some point over the music side of BET, they're all gone apparently, and the people there now is all it's cookie cutter. I mean, BET is basically VH1 and MTV and all that. Now it's no different. I don't watch BET. And it's unfortunate, like you said. At one point, you had the news, you had Teen Summit, which is a beautiful thing. We need stuff like that anyway, obviously. So the whole channel has been revamped, and I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I don't watch it. I don't like reality TV like that anyway. So but BET has some of them joints on there, I believe. Now I don't watch it, man. But as far as hip hop concerned, they dropped the ball because it's still called BET, Black Entertainment Television. You should still have a Rap City type of show that's going to show the essence. I mean, local artists, underground type of artists, and just old school videos and things like that. Man, maybe keep some people like to sit on the couch and watch TV. Everybody don't want to watch their phone. Everybody don't want to watch the computer all the time. Some people want to sit back on their couch with something to drink, kick their feet up, and you look at their big screen and watch TV. And especially for a hip hop head, if it was some real dope shows back as far as hip hop on BET, there's times I get off work, I might get on my couch, I'm gonna turn to it, man. I'll watch it. And even some teenagers might do it, college age kids might do it, but they totally dropped the ball on hip hop. It will never be the same. The old BET, and I'm one of those people when I look forward, the things back, this thing of the past. They're not going backwards. There's no reason for them to at this point. If they're doing stuff to get viewers now, and this new generation love reality TV and stuff like that, they're not gonna go back because they're getting clicks or watches or viewership, whatever the terminology. They're getting that. So Yeah, man, they totally dropped the ball on hip hop. It's unfortunate. You know, BET and VH1 do it. That's fine if they drop the ball on hip hop. But just it's called BET. That's part of our culture, and it has been. It's the Mister Show, man.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly that. One thing I definitely should point out because everybody knows, and it would probably be a counter argument, but it still wasn't enough, especially because it contradicted what they would do the majority of the time on that channel. Is they attempted to do like hip hop honors, honoring old school artists, stuff like that, but you rarely saw those videos in what I'm saying on that channel, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
or anything that resembled that type of rap, or at least that essence of rap. They also tried to, like with 106 in Park, they tried to, bring a little battle rap in there, and a lot of well-known battle rappers and some artists also came out of that, who are respectable MCs, but it was still kind of mincing the audiences. You know what I'm saying? Like the majority of the audience that they serviced, and this happens in radio, urban radio also, is usually very young little girls, like tweens and teenagers. You know what I'm saying? And sure, some of them like hip hop, but they don't want bars all the time. You know what I'm saying? They want catchy, they want flashy, they want what's hot, and that's it. Um, and I felt like they were kind of trying to do things because the word on the street was BT wasn't the same. So, oh, here you go, here's hip hop honors. We're honoring legends in the hip hop game, but that didn't do well because now a lot of people watched it. Why? Because there's a lot of us who stopped watching BET. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy when you think about it. And again, just to reiterate for y'all, it's funny how we talk about this time in hip hop with an album called The Minstrel Show and an organization called Black Entertainment Television won't play one of their videos that's not even controversial. You know what I'm saying? It was just a sign of the times. It just showed that money and ratings were more important than anything. And also that Bob Johnson did not own it anymore. It was a Viacom product. Um, and it was just crazy. But we want to know from y'all, man. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Do you still watch BET? What do you watch when you watch BET? Or do you remember that time in hip hop when, they said that Little Brother was too intelligent to play the video? What were your thoughts at that time? Leave your comments in the comment section below. We definitely like to know what y'all think about this, man, because it was just one of those shows where we just had to, like, you know what? Remember when this happened? You know what I'm saying? And some people just didn't know the details. And it's dope to have somebody like Tone on here who can also kind of give us a little insight with his connection with Ninth Wonder. Now, though, we get to the point in the program where we recommend to you an album or mixtape you should go back and listen to. And my recommendation for this week is EPMD's Business Never Personal out of 1992. BET, I'm getting ready to start again. EPMD was my favorite group around this time. Like, they could do no wrong. They had 3 straight dope albums, and this was the 4th, but they were also breaking up. It's 11 songs on here. There's nothing about, usually when you hear about a group breaking up or like a show ending because of some beef, it's usually like, oh, well, if you ever seen the last season of Martin, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It doesn't resemble itself. Whereas with this album coming out, with us knowing EPMD was breaking up, this is like, one of their best albums. You know what I'm saying? Had Headbanger on there, a couple of other crossover was on there. We talked about EPMD also. Scratch Bring It Back Part 2, Who Killed Jane, Can't Hear Nothing But the Music, Boondocks. The production was just pure hardcore boom bap. The rhymes were We had the Hit Squad, you know, you had Das Effects, K Solo. You just had all of this happening at the same time, all this energy. It just felt like they were about to take over, and then the group broke up. But nevertheless, I think that's part of the reason why a lot of people, when they mention EPMD, for some reason they kind of leave that album out because of the controversy that surrounded it. Kind of, you know,
Yeah,
made you forget how dope it was. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's a very dope album, not even a long listen, which is right up my alley. Out of 1992, EPMD, Business, Never Personal. Definitely go check that out. Tone, your thoughts on that album, and your recommendation for this week.
yeah, man. So I echo one sentiment. For me personally, growing up, Run DMC was my favorite rap group until I heard EPMD. Then EPMD became my favorite rap group for several years. Then I heard Bonita and fell in love with Tribe Called Quest. And then Tribe became my favorite group. So those three are my favorite rap groups. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that album was dope, man. I mean, they was like 4 for 4 by the time the album came out. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, hey, you know, they might be the best right now because who was doing that? Who can say they had like a 4 album run as a group? Not many. You got you know Tribe, Daylight, Outkast, and that's probably it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I mean, not many people can say that they did something like that. And that album, you know, Headbang was a hard single. Crossover, man. Like the
yeah,
name of the song was Crossover, and it became their biggest single. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And it was a hit. It was on the radio, it was on BT, all that. But they were dissing the industry. They were
yeah.
dissing other MCs. You know what I'm saying? And all kind of stuff. They were dissing people who crossed over. You know what I'm saying? So they were dissing commercialism,
Yeah.
and it became a commercial hit. You
And
know what I'm saying?
look
Which
how ironic that is that we do a show, a
ironic.
minstrel show in BT, and they're denying it. But here you have a couple years back, EPMD becoming, like you said, it becoming one of their biggest singles.
Right,
Crazy.
right. So yeah, that's dope within itself, crazy within itself, just the way that they pulled that off. But yeah, my recommendation is actually Volume 3, Life and Time of Sean Carter, Jay-Z, his fourth album. Like we said, EPMD's fourth album. This is Jay-Z's fourth album. You know,
Mm-hmm.
following Reasonable Doubt, Volume 1, Volume 2. Now you talking about Volume 3 in 1999. It was four albums in 4 years. And you know, to be honest with you, if you can dish that album to like 12 songs, you talking about some of Jay-Z's best work to me. He was
Yeah,
still in a it was like he had finally on volume 2 and volume 3 had mastered still the streets and the club. You know, I
mm-hmm.
mean, looking at some of the songs, man, NYMP, New York Marcy Projects, one of my favorite Jay-Z songs.
Yeah,
Come and Get Me. Come and Get Me. The answer to Nas, Come Get Me from Nostradamus. For
yeah,
some of y'all, we talked about that on one episode, people. You talking about Big Pimpin' is a legendary track with UGK that was a club banger, radio banger, but they still spitting on it. You know what I'm saying? You have It's Hot. You know, you have that the whole song intro and outro. You have So Ghetto, DJ Premier. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I mean, just looking down here again, man, just so many Dope Man. You know what
Dope,
I'm
man.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite Jay-Z songs. So if you take off, you know, for me, the Watcher with Dr. Dre, you know what I mean? So don't get it twisted, man. Jay was killing on this album, man. Then I think Is That Your Bitch was on one version of it. Anything was on one version of it. Yeah, just nuts, man. You take off that for me that Pop for Rock and the things you do with Mariah Carey. I hate those songs. And this song with Emil. You take those three songs off, and to me, it's a 4.5 mic album, damn near, man. So yeah, man, Jay spit on there, man, and yeah, I have nothing bad to say about it, man. Outside of those three songs, man, he was batting 1,000 or whatever. Y'all don't know baseball that well, but whatever that high batting is, that's what he was doing by the time he got 4 albums in 4 years, man. What you think about Volume 3?
Man, I that was the time, for those who don't know, this is pre-Ether. That was the time where it was like Jay-Z cannot lose, because he was having hit after hit,
Yes, he was.
albums were coming out like one after the other. You know what I'm saying? And it was like he was getting better as an MC. I remember the first record I heard off of there was So Ghetto, and I was just like,
Whew.
how? Like, how is this dude this comfortable that he could just still be this nice? And it's the fourth album. And you know, unfortunately, it's one of those albums that get forgotten. You know what I'm saying? Because people will tell you how much they like certain albums, like American Gangster or Reasonable Doubt. Then they'll tell you how they dislike, other albums like some of his newer stuff and Kingdom Come and Volume 2, which is ludicrous to me. Oh, Volume 1, I should say, second album. But a lot of times you don't even really hear about the S. Dot Carter album. And like Tone said, man, there's a lot of heat on there. It's a lot of heat on that album.
Plenty.
And it's definitely a perfect recommendation because it's just one of those albums that people remember it, but they really don't. And they don't remember the last time they played it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm one of them. I own it. And when Tone said that was his recommendation, I was like, damn, when is the last time I just hit play on that album and just ride out to it? And it's probably been years, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely one of Jay's best albums, hands down. Right when the whole Jay-Z and Nas was starting to brew and bubble to the top.
That was right there.
We were thinking like, yo, is it about to happen? What's going on? But yeah, man, go check out both of those albums, S. Dot Carter Volume 3, Jay-Z, and EPMD's Business Never Personal. Two very dope albums, straight boom bap, little commercial stuff here and there on Jay-Z joint, but not too bad. Check it out. It's definitely worth your time. But that's going to do it for us for this week, man. You can follow us on the B-Roll Network at B-Roll NET WORK1. That's on Instagram and Twitter. Also, subscribe to this podcast if you like what you was hearing. Hit that like button. If you feel like you need to say something about anything we mentioned, leave a comment in the comment section. But more importantly, share this podcast with people enjoy this kind of content. On behalf of Tone of IntoTheDome.com and myself, Vegas of Hip Hop Now podcast, go out and support hip hop. Why not? You got money. Peace.
Peace.
Drop it on the random.